Because, you know, I wasn't that great of an athlete. I graduated when I just turned 17. I wasn't really mature enough to be a big hitter with the athletes they had then. I got the chance, but you know what the chance was? Have you ever heard the term walk-on? Well, I was a walk-on. We walked on at Miami, and the feeling you had as a walk-on was one of scum. There are lots of descriptive terms that we can use maybe out on the golf course later. But we weren't really thought of too highly because all the scholarship boys already come in 2 weeks early. They had the head start. They knew the plays. And here come 50 guys that were just hoping. Well, I'll tell you what. They didn't beat me at that either. 4 years later, out of 72 freshmen, I was one of 12 that graduated. Of those 12, there was only about 4 of those that were scholarship players at the beginning. The rest of us were walk-ons. Miami was famous for their walk-ons. We had 2 second-team All-American as a middle guard. But Miami was a first-class operation. And little did I know that meeting that challenge would be a major part of my success with Franklin later on. I don't know how many times I wanted to quit, but I kept going. I worked hard, and by the time I was a junior, I was a starter. As a senior, I made second-team All-Mid-American. It was a dream that came true for me. I was very proud. Wally Becker talked yesterday about visualization. No, the day before yesterday. I guess I feel pretty strong about that too. I visualized when I was a high school senior that I would be playing major college football. The thoughts of playing anything less just didn't interest me. I visualized my first $50,000 of income with Franklin Life. I knew when I signed that contract and saw that president's plan, and better yet, saw the fact that Denny Boniface would do it, I could do it too. I visualized breaking the company record in 1982. Buckshot O'Brien had it at that time of $156,000 of premium. Almost an insurmountable amount of business. Well, we did 186 that year. I'm proud of that fact. As a matter of fact, that year was the year that we sort of inaugurated or started the Centurion Club. The Magnificent Seven. It wasn't really, if you counted that year, we'd have an extra year, Jack, on our bulletin here. But there were 7 of us, and that's sort of what gave Jack the impetus to get this thing started. Myself, my good friend Dan Gibbs, Clyde Benninghoff, Jimmy Moores, Wilmer Whitmer, Joe Godfroy, and Roland Roussel. You can all figure out who of that group is still producing Centurion level. Some of my latest visualizations is going from salesman of the decade to maybe agency builder of the decade. I would like that. And who knows what else. I'll let you guys figure that one out. But right now, I'd like a show of hands of the band directors in the audience.
Are you ready for this?
Where's Gibbs at? Okay. Okay, this is pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good show. You guys can cover your face if you hold your hands up now. Cindy, I'm going to let you get into this thing now.
Okay.
Do you know why football coaches bury all band directors 27 feet deep?
Is it because deep down they're such good guys?
You stole my joke.
I wanted to make sure you got it right.
I'll never be a Howard Humphrey.
No, you won't.
But with you up here, maybe we can work it out. The most significant part of my career at Miami was Bo leaving, going to Michigan, and Bill Mallory taking over. Bill was the fairest man I've ever been around. He recognized hard work and he rewarded you for it. After staying on as a graduate assistant at Miami, Cindy taught school and she kept the bills paid that year. After that year, I took a head coaching job at a medium-sized school in Ohio. At the age of 21, I was the youngest head football coach in the state of Ohio. And football is a big deal in Ohio. We took over a terrible program. In the first year, we went 1-9. Now, the word for that, it sucks. But when I walked in the door that year, the athletic director said, "We're broke. You don't have any assistants. And the equipment is horrible." They should have thrown the equipment over the riverbank. I was devastated. I don't know how many times I said to myself, "Bill Mallory, why did you recommend me for this?" God, I was going to be buried. But I was devastated, but resilient enough to figure out a way because, you know, being a walk-on is pretty scummy business. And if you can overcome that, you can overcome 1-9 records. I turned that program around and we finished with 4 straight winning seasons. We won 24 ball games. The years I was there, 19 were shutouts. We were famous for defense. One of the reasons we were successful was total team effort. To demonstrate how important teamwork is, I'd like to compare a good team to a chain. A chain is never stronger than its weak link.
He messed up already.
Okay, here we are. This is a chain. This is a bunch of links, what this is. And I dropped one. Okay. We're going to take and put together a team, a Franklin Life team. Can't figure out which way to turn that thing. I'm going to drop a link in. We're going to start with a tapper. How about Mike Farah? Pretty good tapper. Used to be. And how about a district manager? Maybe Mike Lorch. He was a district manager. Hey, you got promoted, Mike. How about a couple of my guys, Jack Riblett, Greg Robbins, Richard Eastep, who's here, and Don Mercell. See what we got left. We got room for an area manager. How about Gene Demery? Regional manager, Ray Brown. And we got to put in the home office staff, of course. How about Tom Byerly, Jack Watson, and Howard Humphrey. Now, I got to get something. Here it is. We're going to weld these links together. I tried to get that magician to stay and do this, but he cost $5,000. I said, hell with it. I'll screw it up, and at least it'll be funny. I'm going to drop a little fire in here to melt these things together. Okay. Say the magic words, Howard. Abracadabra, whatever. Think it'll work soon?
I don't know.
Wally, you think it'll work? It's getting hot. Whoa! The Franklin Life team, the Franklin Life chain.
Well, Fred, that reminds me of another chain. The football team, after that first terrible, horrible season, gave Fred a special gift as their coach. Actually, they gave him 3 things. The first was a whistle, so he could officially blow the play dead during the game. Yes, Fred blew his whistle during a game because he didn't like what was going on out on the field. Can you imagine the officials looking at one another saying, "Did you blow the whistle?" "No." "Didn't you?" "No." The head football coach on the sidelines is blowing his. So naturally, he got his whistle taken away from him that night. And at the end of the season, the team decided that, well, they would buy the coach a new one. The second gift was Fred's own personal red flag. You see, in football, when there's a penalty, the officials throw a red flag on the ground. During that first season, Fred got so many red flags thrown at him that the team thought he would like his own personal red flag that he could throw on himself throughout the year. The third gift was the best one of all. You see, during that first season, Fred used to like to run out on the field to argue with the officials. That's where all the red flags were thrown at him. So the team thought to prevent the coach in the next season from running out on the field, they gave him an ankle chain and a stake to chain him to the sidelines. Now, to all who know Fred, when he's in a real rage, no chain is going to hold him anywhere. But these little reminders were present in the next seasons, which were considerably better. Now, were you going to say anything else, Fred?
Well, I guess I could. The officials got me again, as you can see. I worked harder at coaching than anything I've ever done. I learned the art of hustling for money at the high school coaching level, believe me. We didn't have great gate receipts, so I ended up selling everything from popsicles to raffle tickets to raise money. I remember at the ball games, the basketball games, I had the Letterman's Club. We had to raise some money to buy all the trophies. Nobody else would pay for them, so we had to. And as everybody walked into the basketball arena, I'd grab them, stop them, say, "Arm length of tickets for $1. And boy, they couldn't get past me. I made them buy the tickets. We raised all kinds of money that way. Arm's length of tickets for $1. Sounded like a guy down at the Cincinnati Reds baseball game selling beer. I had this burning desire as a coach to be number one. And I felt helpless as a coach because I wasn't in control of my own destiny. 15-year-old kids out there on the field running my life just got a little bit nerve-wracking for me. Maybe that's why I pursued with a fervor the first Hawaiian contest that Gene Demery offered. It was a tropical paradise, usually meant what we did for a tropical paradise was go to Florida, not Hawaii in the winter. I'd go into the teacher's lounge and practice my surfing on the table. Boy, did I peeve some people off about that. And then when I took off and called in from Hawaii sick, and it really peeved them off. I won that contest and had decided at that point that the Franklin opportunity was for us.
Fred, why don't we tell them about our unique experience that first time in Hawaii? Fred had never used sunscreen in his life. He sat on a tractor or worked in the fields all day. He never got sunburned. He didn't need sunscreen in Hawaii. So he goes golfing in shorts and no socks. That night, Fred has a major sunburn on his ankles. The next day came the chills and the fever. Not everyone gets to go to the emergency room in Hawaii, but the Briskers did. We try to experience it all on vacations. We received special treatment going home in the airport because Fred is in a wheelchair with sun poisoning. Have you ever seen those little old ladies in the airport riding the motorized carts? Fred and I did that. Go ahead, Fred.
When coaching, you guys want to talk about Hawaii a little longer? Or the sunburn? Or maybe we could talk about your diet.
Well, if you really want to, Fred.
I saw Cindy out in the hall the other day, and she was talking to Shirley Cleveland. I
Shirley
said,
Cleveland.
what was you talking to Shirley about? Oh, I forgot your diet. It wears me out a little bit. Sure as hell wasn't my $1.5 million of premium, I'll tell you that. When coaching, I had a few motivational phrases hung up on the posters around the locker room. One of those phrases was, hard work and opportunity equals luck. Think about that a minute. Hard work, that's you guys using your brain and working hard, and a little opportunity, Franklin lifestyle. Doesn't that equal luck? Equated to commissions? I think that's the real definition of luck. Another phrase that we use that I really think is more fitting is pursuit is B-Y-A. Now, for you old football coaches, you may recognize that pursuit is a defensive term, meaning get to the ball carrier, knock his head off. BYA was short for bust your butt. But isn't that true in life and Franklin? That pursuit, regardless of what you pursue, is BYA. When I pursued Franklin, I did it the way our defense was taught. I didn't feel comfortable on the field as a coach until I knew the play was dead and the ball was where it was blown dead. I didn't feel comfortable until the last second on the clock said 0 and my team was ahead. I didn't stop at the whistle when I worked with Franklin, when I started with Franklin. I stopped a little bit later. Remember, you must finish the job you're pursuing. You have to close the sale. Just like a defensive player has to get off the ball, react to the ball, fight through the blocks, get knocked down, get up, and maintain a proper pursuit angle to the ball carrier and finish off the tackle. We have to do the same thing. Isn't that analogy alarmingly real in the sales business? When Cindy and I moved to Minford, we built our new house. We had nothing except the Franklin game plan. Selling and building. When I quit teaching, I had $2,300 of first-year deferred commissions, and I had $9,000 from the sale of our house that we used as the down payment on the new house. We really didn't have any money. Believe me, that summer, I pursued. I sold and built enough that year to be the company's Rookie of the Year. Finally, I had achieved a dream. Number one, the national champ. Couldn't have never done that in football. What could have been better? Well, I just wasn't satisfied with just that award. I would have never been able to live just with one. I've been very fortunate. Fortunate enough to win 3 more national awards. Well, since then, we've gone from the bedroom office to the full basement office to the brand new 4,000-foot office building in the part of the area with in the business part of the area with a computer message sign in the front that says, "I love Franklin." Or sometimes it might step up and say, A.L. Williams. Oh, I better not finish that sentence. I'll leave that to your imagination, what we say about them. The agency team has grown to a total of 35 producers during the year. We don't average quite that many, but over a period of the year, 35 different producers. I'm very proud of the fact that 5 of our people have LUTCF designations, and at least 3 of them have been past presidents of the local Life Underwriters Association. And 5 have made this trip. With my sales group that are with us, please stand. Let's give them a hand. We want to be a professional operation. This is why we really work hard with the Life Underwriters. This is the real satisfaction of Franklin, bringing those people to the conventions, seeing them succeed, seeing others you brought in succeed. I guess the magic to success is somehow finding the people, those people, who know they will pursue their dream and, more importantly, will BYA.
Yes, and then you have to find another set of people who are willing to live with all this BYA. It's easy to philosophize pursuing your dream, but it's a whole different ballgame putting it in day-to-day life. It's not hard to leave the house at 8:30 and go to the office and stay till 5, but it is hard to have 3 appointments set up for that evening and not get home until 10 or 11 and do this on a regular basis. We have to eat family meals together on the weekends because Fred's not home for dinner during the week. Even though he's gone most days, he still keeps tabs on me. It's not unusual to have him call me 50 miles north of home during the day and then be 70 miles south of home that evening when he calls. We have this little joke that Fred's the thumb and I'm the palm, and this is the way he wants it all the time. The only trouble is I keep slipping out, and he can't control that. When the kids were younger, I belonged to a service organization that had their meetings on Thursday nights. All my friends had husbands home in the evening to babysit the kids, except me. Fred said, which is more economical? Hire a babysitter for $2 an hour or have me lose a night of selling? Naturally, I hired a sitter. It was unfortunate, though, that the meetings weren't on Monday nights. You see, on Monday nights in the fall, Fred's schedule somehow opened up and he was home early to watch Monday Night Football. He never admitted that this was planned. It just happened every week. Over the last, did you want to say anything else, Fred? That's okay. Over the last 14 years, Fred has been in the limelight a lot and given many speeches. He has been totally honest in telling everyone what he does and how he does it. Yet I'm often asked just what Fred is really doing. They want me to admit to some dark secret like he's from the mafia or maybe a magician. Well, I know he's not Italian. And even though his magic trick worked today, there was equal chance that it was not going to work. We have 2 more tricks at home that Fred bought, and he could not master. We can sell these cheap to anyone who's interested in them. From that first year, when Fred won Rookie of the Year, he has had a goal in mind every year. He pursues like crazy from January till June until he's sure everything is falling into place. He never rests on his laurels very long before it's on to the next accomplishment. My sister-in-law told me once she didn't need a calendar to tell her when spring came. Her husband, Fred's brother, started getting tense in February, just anticipating farming, spring planting coming. Like his brother, Fred starts getting tense January 1st when net paid is low and he has 12 months ahead of him. He's afraid he'll get PMS, poor monthly sales. January would be unbearable without Seeb's kickoff meeting in Alabama. Fred comes home gung-ho and ready to tackle the year. He uses me as a sounding board to test out new projects he's thinking about and goals he wants to accomplish. I'm not afraid to tell him how impossible they are, but that doesn't mean he doesn't go ahead and do it anyway. Fred works hard at his job and expects everyone around him to work hard too. Our 2 girls are expected to do the very best they can in school, and Fred is not real tolerant of B's on the report card. It doesn't help him, though, to have his mom come up to our house and relate the story about Freddie and first grade. Back in 1957, Fred's teacher called a conference with his parents and told them Freddie couldn't hold a pencil, and he was a, quote, hopeless case. Our kids love this story. Of course, I don't know if that teacher knew that maybe this little first grader couldn't hold a pencil, but he knew what hard work was. Fred does his job and does it real well, and the girls excel in what they do too. And then there's me, Fred's wife and Carrie and Mamie's mom. I do everything else. The faucet's leaking, I fix it, or get a plumber. The TV won't change channels fast enough for Fred, I fix it. Fred does not do mechanical things. I think that inanimate objects do not respond to his charismatic charm. Instead, they frustrate the, well, you know what out of him. After breaking, throwing, or punching the stove, sink, or whatever else he was trying to fix, he lets me do it now. This winter, I was able to go to Florida to visit my mom and dad, just me by myself. Fred and the girls stayed home. The pilot went out on the furnace, and Fred had to have his mom come up and light it for him. Fred has talked in other speeches about how fast he drives, and this is true. The way he tells it, though, he's able to get twice as much accomplished as those people driving the speed limit. A couple years ago, Fred had so many speeding tickets that I was on the first name basis with a lady at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. All of Fred's tickets were gotten at night when his fuzzbuster alarm didn't go off until it was too late. Fred would like all the patrol cars to glow in the dark so he can spot them. Fred does everything fast. Well, not everything. But he does spend money fast. Our Franklin checks are like magic. It's now you see it, now you don't. A word to describe Fred, what else but a competitor. From his first Little League game to the winning of the Final Four tickets, Fred has been a competitor and wants to win everything. On the golf course, Fred sometimes becomes extremely frustrated with his poor play. He has not only thrown or beat his clubs, he once threw a push cart in a lake. As a tennis player, Fred is famous, or rather infamous, with not only our friends in Franklin, but in our community as well. This picture coming up is one of Fred's lesser-known awards. I brought the racket so you could see it close up. It died an instant death at French Lick, Indiana, at a Franklin mini convention. He finally realized that graphite rackets could not be abused. He once told me that he only swore at the racket and the frame cracked. As a fan, he's no less intense. He has been threatened at ejection more times than I care to remember. I finally refused to sit with him at Carrie's basketball games. Her teammates would tell her after the game that they heard her dad through the whole game. Living with Fred has never been dull. He likes to describe it as living on the edge. From a college football player to a coach, and now as a salesman, Fred gave them all whatever it took to get the job done. In deciding to give up coaching, he realized back in 1976 what the Franklin opportunity could mean to his family. Our daughters have grown up with the Franklin opportunity. This picture with Carrie was taken the last year he coached. She can't remember her daddy as a coach at all. They have enjoyed the great life. They can't remember a time we didn't have a pool. They vaguely remember their daddy winning that little red Fiero. Fred and I have taken many fabulous trips, this one included, with the Franklin. But even more important are the trips we've taken because of Franklin. Carrie and Mamie's favorite vacation was 3 days at the Greenbrier, also our most expensive vacation. Our youngest informed us, they were so impressed, that she wanted to spend a week at the Greenbrier for her honeymoon. Fred had to get out a calculator to figure out how many sales that would take to pay for that. Whether the vacation is on the mountain or on the beach, Franklin's opportunity has provided us with this quality time for our family. Our last trip was this past March, and we went west to ski. As you can see, our daughters are young ladies now. Has it all been worth it? Yes, there's no doubt about it. And as you all now realize now that our speech format was a setup. Fred usually would never shut up, no matter how much I interrupted. In fact, he had an extremely hard time doing it now until Tom Byerly threatened to just leave him at home if he didn't cooperate.
Now, Cindy, you know better than that. I have to deny all that. But you know, really, Franklin isn't magic. It just works like magic.
Thank you very much.